Hey everybody, welcome to a new week of Lego with Friends. I'm Norm, on the other side of the table is Sean, of course, and our very special guest this week is a new friend of ours, Kayte Sabicer. Welcome, Kayte.
Thank you.
Kayte works at Tippett Studio.
Yes.
And you have a long, illustrious career in model making, miniature building, and we're going to pick your brains all this week about that stuff. But we're also going to build some Lego.
Yes.
So without further ado, because it's going to be a pretty complicated set. You have no idea, Kayte?
No, I have no idea.
So what are some examples of things you've worked on?
Movies or Lego?
Movies.
Good
What
question.
have you built
Okay.
in movies?
So for Dark Knight Rises, my friend Jonathan and I built the Tumbler with New Deal Studios, and also the plane in Dark Knight Rises that gets ripped apart.
So the Tumbler, that's interesting. Because we're building the Tumbler!
We're building the Tumbler!
I was just thinking, oh my God, there is a Tumbler set, and I really wish that we were gonna build it.
Yeah, we're building the UCS Tumbler.
I'm so excited right now, by the way.
This is discontinued set, but it's in my archive. So I have a large collection of Lego that still has not been built after our move from New York, and this is one of them. So I have to give thanks to my wife Kate for helping me sort it this weekend.
Thanks,
but we're gonna
Kate.
build it. It's a little bit of a big kit, but I think I
Yeah.
got it worked out that we can handle it.
You guys, you have no idea. You have no idea. I was even walking here being like, man, we have a real missed opportunity here.
I knew
Sean and I were
knew we
chatting
had to
over
do it.
email beforehand, and I had, we have some backup sets just in case, because I knew Sean had the Tumbler, but you got it when you were in New York.
Yeah.
And then when you moved to San Francisco, I guess it had to come apart.
Everything got disassembled, and it's in Ziploc bags in a Foot Locker. And I
Pre-sorted.
just haven't put a lot of it back together. It's been too long. So
Hello, old friend.
so we'll talk more about the actual Tumbler, but so let me give you a lay of the land for what we're doing. So the nice thing is, so for those out there, this is 76023.
Instructions are online. You can download the PDF.
Yep. And the nice thing is they divided this one up into multiples, which is great for us.
Yes.
Right? The other good thing, while this is an intimidating set, a lot of it is totally mirrored. So what I have done is, the first one here is the main body, which is a one-person job. The other ones, these can all be built ahead and divided up amongst us.
Perfect.
Right? So there is some in this number 2 that can get built ahead. All of these can get built ahead. They're like body panels and stuff like that.
I think it makes the most sense to have Kate do the main body.
I think so too.
Yes.
And
I feel so special.
the other thing that I've done is anything that is chiral or mirrored,
Yes.
I've noted, because anybody building Lego out there has experienced this, where you build the one thing and it's like, do it all over again, but opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's even worse than missing the X2.
Right, so to speed things up, I've made note of when they're mirrored so that we can just pull double the parts and mirror it as we build. So I think between those things, we can actually knock this out.
And if I'm not mistaken, Kate, you are well versed in both modeling and Lego building.
Yes, I'm not like an expert like some people are, but I build Lego probably once every 2 months, if not once a month.
Solid.
And what's interesting is I was watching some of the past Lego build videos, and here I thought that I was this freak of nature. There was something so weird about me that every time I build Lego, I get such immense joy from sorting all the
Yes,
pieces.
the
And I'm like,
knolling.
no one else ever does this. I'm so weird.
You're
And I
in the
watch
right
it go,
company.
oh, okay, good.
We will be knolling.
Well,
there
let's-
will be knolling.
Let's talk about that.
Whoa.
I think I may have figured out our ultimate.
Did you know everything for me already?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Realistically, we experienced this. I brought in the UCS Millennium Falcon before,
Which I watched.
and there's just no way we'd ever be able to do that if we didn't pre-sort it.
Right.
There's just
Right.
no way.
This is a many thousand piece set.
Yeah.
And they're all
what
like
is the
3
count
shades
on
of
this?
gray.
Do we
You know
know?
what? I think it's around 400 or 500 something. I'm really not sure.
Okay.
So I think these are my favorite. The Stanley bins are about the best thing ever for sorting, because we can take these out as needed, and
that is
yeah.
nice.
So we can just actually. I don't know. Do you think we should just take them all out?
Yeah. There's gonna have to
then you
be
won't have
some
any doors
management.
in the way.
Yeah. In past builds, what we've done when it's fewer pieces, we have like a assembly line almost. One person opens the bags and does all the beautiful knolling. One
Right.
person grabs the pieces to prep the next step, and one person assembles. But I think we're all experienced enough that we can all be assembling. And so we'll just have to be grabbing pieces and
We'll see. We'll feel it out. We'll see how
Yeah.
it goes here. Yeah.
And I just have to say, disclaimer alert.
Yeah.
I do know, believe me, I know that the plural of Lego is Lego. But
We do
I
all
was
that.
raised saying Legos. So if
It's
I
gonna
should
happen.
slip, please forgive me.
Oh, that's
Internet.
okay.
I'm sorry. I do know though. I know better.
All right. So, Norm, why don't you
yes, I can empty
unload? They're kind of grouped by types of parts. So
pre-sorting. What luxury we live in.
there's no way we would have been able to pull this off otherwise. And once again, thank you to my wife, Kate,
Thank you, Kate.
who is an awesome Lego sorter.
I know that. I know how that goes.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Wow. Yeah,
Right through
because
the crack. Did any fall?
I don't think so.
Good.
All right.
amazing.
All right. So, and then I have a bin of bigger parts and tires and stuff down here. So, if we should need those. So,
Fantastic. So we will have to empty out these Stanley bins, at least some of them, right? Like we will have to
yeah.
null things out because they're not separated by bags or by booklets. Is that correct?
No, there's no way to do that.
Oh,
Right.
right.
You can only go by the, once they're out of the bags.
Once that's it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Once they're out of the bags, there's not much you can do other than just sort them by what type they are. So they're all sorted by type. So bricks and plates and everything are all together. So.
Oh my God! Wow, this is insane, people out there.
Yeah.
Because the tabs that Sean, that you've put in, like, there are actual places. This is gonna be like so much of a time saver.
Yes. That's
Knowing
what
that
I
I'll
figured.
build two of these. But does that mean that when I follow the instructions, I have to like not look at the picture and realize how to mirror it?
Well, that is the challenge. You will have
Ooh.
to mirror it yourself, but you know.
Okay.
Or the alternate way to do that is you still pull twice the parts, but then you still follow the other
Oh, so at least you're
instructions.
pulling the parts.
So at least you're making your part pulling.
I think I'm gonna do that because the part pulling is the
Yeah.
time
Right.
consuming.
So Kate's going to be doing the main body, which is the cockpit and everything hooks
Yeah.
onto it. Norm and I will be working on things that attach to that, so trim and
This is the
other doodads.
top, the actual
easy
the
greeblies.
cockpit. Should we have saved this for Kate?
well, that's those you can if you want you can build here. You may want to jump ahead. To,
Yeah. Because this one actually looks like it's part of the body.
Well, all of these things in the last 3 books are things that attach to the body, but are pieces
So I'll set aside once
you
I
could set aside and
Got
they're
it.
ready for when we get to this.
got it. Wow.
So what do you think, Kate? We're gonna do right?
I'm so excited. Best possible scenario right now.
All right. So shall we get started?
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, why thank you.
How I'm gonna pardon my reach. I'm
How
gonna
dare
grab
you.
that. Put that right here. So, I guess a good place to start chatting is talking about the real Tumbler, the
Okay.
one you made.
Sure.
And this is when you and our other mutual friend, Jonathan Faber,
Jonathan.
who tested viewers out there may recognize, a regular attendee of the RPF party.
Yes.
He's the one who's been working on that cutaway TIE fighter
Totally.
forever.
Oh my gosh.
It's
And
beautiful.
He's so talented.
The cutaway TIE fighter was amazing.
I need to make it clear. I feel like the Tumbler would not have come out half as good as it did without Jonathan. Like, he was the glue.
So you two, was it just two of you working on one miniature?
Yes. So the way it was working is we were building all of Bane's lair essentially, and the ceiling piece and the whole shot we were doing was that the ceiling piece gets blown away,
Yes.
the tumbler falls through, and that's how his crew steals the tumbler.
Oh, so this is the not the
is
painted
the
black one.
camo
This is the
one.
camo one
Yes.
that's in the research facility.
Yes, applied sciences.
And it's that was an IMAX scene.
Yes.
So it had to
Yes.
meet the scrutiny under that camera.
Yeah, and so basically we had to create the whole layer, and so I worked on other parts as well. You know, there were a bunch of like gas cans and like weird sort of just set dressing that were all through that area, and so like I helped on some of that. But luckily, one of the owners, Ian Hunter, he was sort of passing out jobs, and I think he, like, honestly, I think he was doing me a favor. He was just like, all right, so it's you and Jonathan who are going to be working on the Tumbler, and I was just like,
So first of all, how big was this?
okay, so the Tumbler that we built was 1/3 scale, so it was, it's been 5 years.
That's
but
pretty big.
Yeah, it was at least like 6 feet long.
Because I have a 6th scale tumbler for that Hot Toys made, and that's like this big, and so this is twice that.
Quite large. If you so there was like a Cinefex article about that job, and there's a picture of Jonathan and I working on it, and you can see how big it is. And the crazy thing is it's not just the size of it, but it's also that it's a steel frame. It's the same frame that was used for the lower whacker drive sequence in Dark Knight.
The RC model.
Yeah, and so it is solid. It is so heavy. You cannot move it on your own. It takes a lot of people, and preferably on wheels, to get it around. So that thing was massive.
And this wasn't RC or anything?
No, because all it was we had to drop it through the ceiling. So it had to be sturdy enough to not completely break apart. And we did, I want to say...
Because that's a massive ceiling then.
Yeah. And we did at least 2 takes, if not 3. So it's this fine balance when you're building these for miniature effects. You need it to break apart usually in the right way, but not totally be destroyed. And then you have to go in and fix it so that you can do it again.
So you would be on set for repairs and
well, so we shot this at our studio. So we weren't in Pittsburgh, or they shot all around, but this stuff, luckily, was all done at New Deal Studios, and at the time they were in Marina Del Rey.
That's awesome. We need Norm.
I need 2 flat yellow single 1x1s. I don't know where the small yellow pieces are.
We got it here. Are these?
Ah, yes. Yeah. Yellow?
Were there more?
There are no yellow ones in here.
You probably need a whole bunch of those right now.
Anything else? Oh, maybe in here. Nope.
I think they're all the same size too.
Any yellow, potentially? 1x1s?
Oh, those are tiles. You gotta specify that.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
That is super cool, Kate.
I have so many questions.
Yes. I hope I can answer them all. It's been a few years, but I did it.
So for Dark Knight, when there was that Tumbler, the Tumbler was in all 3 of the films. Dark Knight had the one that you mentioned, the underground.
Yeah, lower Whacker Drive.
Right.
With the trash truck. The garbage
yes,
truck.
right.
Yes.
And those were miniatures as well.
Yes, and this is actually the same frame from that sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who built that, is there a CAD drawing? Like, how do you start building it?
Yeah.
If the brief comes and says, make a tumbler, yes, it needs to be this scale, yes, it needs to fall, yes, it needs like this, but is it scratch built? Like, what's the process?
For that original one, I can't speak to the exact process, what they did, but I know that for most of our projects, what it is we get the call and they say, we need this, and
the bat signal goes out.
And a lot of times we'll get a folder of reference, and they'll tell us the scale, and we have in-house designers and people who draw the stuff up. I think on Dark Knight Rises that might have been Patrick Dunn Baker. Hey, Patrick. And some of our other guys, possibly Jason Kalowski, Emily Kwong. And they all sit upstairs in the big important room with computers, which is something I never get near. And they actually make it all happen. So what's really nice about working in those situations is I get brought down full printouts of every specific measurement.
Nice.
I know, and even if I really want to, we did this a little bit on Inception, they will print out full-size layouts so that you can like lay your parts on it. And like it's just all there. It
It's like
couldn't be
Lego,
easier.
or IKEA, but for
Exactly.
a massive, miniature,
Yeah.
miniature. Wow. So
In those situations, it's nice because I don't have to constantly be doing my scale calculations because they do it all for you.
and that's all CAD done. But what's surprising to me is that
Rhino.
so yeah, it's modeling, right?
Yeah.
But it's all like New Deal, the company you're working for that did this, had to come with a lot of it from scratch. It's not like they had the files that were used for Dark Knight.
Only sometimes do they have that much previs stuff. I mean, again, my most experience with those kinds of things, if there is existing reference, like a lot of times they'll hand me a binder and it was just all the photos of the real life set that they had made
Oh my God.
for reference, and then I have to take that and go, okay, let's make sure that all these are the same for what we're gonna build.
Wow.
So once they give you all the plans, what was most of it fabricated out of on top of that metal frame?
Okay, so there, oddly enough, it was really interesting. We had this container arrive from England because, it's Christopher Nolan, and I think when they had finished Dark Knight, they had just literally packed everything and shipped it off to production there.
Okay.
And I want to say that there were maybe a few other versions that maybe some producers got to keep in their office. Like somebody had
a miniature?
Tumbler, in their office.
Somebody had a
either someone at Double Negative or maybe Chris himself.
That's a prize piece worth keeping.
Oh, definitely.
Like costumes and miniatures.
Yes.
Producers love that stuff.
Well, and it's a great focal piece, which it always kind of sucked to be the ones who built it because you want to keep some of that stuff,
Right.
but they own it. It's all theirs. So
That's got to be a bummer.
yeah, but
It's almost like helping someone else build Lego.
Yes. Yes.
it's okay. I'll know that I worked on it. But so with that, we opened this crate, and it had the frame, and it had all these random body pieces. And oddly enough, a lot of them were made from carbon fiber. Like
Whoa.
super, super strong, expensive stuff. And so
Yeah.
really top quality. So we used what we could that was still existing. Obviously, by nature of what we do, most things have been destroyed and are not in the best shape.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of repair, a lot of, and then some new scratch building on top of that. There were a few times in the process, I don't know if people are going to be mad at me for saying this, but I feel like the Tumbler has some less practical design elements to it. Like I remember specifically when we were building the cockpit, and I was like, how do they see? How does this work? The steering mechanism?
Batman.
Like, yeah, I mean, as a whole, it looks great. Don't get me wrong, because there are a lot of people I've talked to that are like, that is hands down my favorite design of a Batmobile.
It was just so
that I've
different.
seen.
I think it is my favorite Batman.
I think it was quite controversial when in Batman Begins when they first announced the design because there were a lot of leaks and rumors before the card shown up about like, well, it has like Ferrari-like wheels in the front and then giant monster truck wheels in the back. And people were like, what? Because everyone in their mind at that time had associated the Batmobile with the Keaton films or even the animated series, something that was sleek, aerodynamic, Art Deco-y.
Yes.
And this was,
Noir.
this was completely different. But it looked more military, which fit with the story.
It looked very practical, like other than the driving side of things.
I think it's so cool.
It looked like a
and
tank.
I love how
like,
it sounds.
Right?
What do you need
Yeah.
more?
Do you have a 1x1 bins of 1x1 tall studs?
And if I'm not mistaken, those
Not tall, like
wheels,
one height. Not
You mean
short.
like bricks?
Bricks.
the
Yes.
wheels were like
Thank you.
go-kart wheels that were almost solid. So like they weighed a ton, and I remember that I believe that there was one that had some damage to it, and we had to. We were like, well, we can't get enough. These things
Oh,
are
it's the miniature
hard to get.
go-kart wheels.
Yeah.
The front. Oh, that makes so much sense. Because I'm thinking of like the one wheel, or like I guess a go-kart. Yeah, that would look like.
That's the stuff that fascinates me. That when you build a vehicle or something like that is it's got real tires and everything like that. Where do you come up with these miniatures? Like, where do you get the miniature tires that exactly match that?
Luckily, when you design something to be in miniature, you have the luxury of saying like, oh, well, I'm gonna make it this size or this whatever because we know, like on Mad God with Phil, we do a lot of things in 6 scale because you can buy a ton of stuff in 6 scale already existing, things like clothes and furniture and whatnot. But on this, when you're like, no, we don't get to really decide any of that, and we have to perfectly match an existing thing in real life, that gets a little confusing. Luckily, the wheels were taken care of, so I didn't have to worry about that. But sometimes you can just have things made. Obviously, I make things, but every now and then you have to make a choice of, is it worth me trying to scratch build something very specific versus going to someone who already makes that kind of stuff? Things like if you need specific glassware, like there's a scientific glass place nearby Berkeley for Mad God stuff that sometimes we'll go and say, oh, can you make us this? Because it just isn't practical to try and make something yourself when you don't have that stuff set up already.
Got it. Norm.
Yes.
I need.
What do you need?
Maybe you're in these ones with the little slot on them.
Okay.
I need that, and I need clips, like the little.
Do you mean these for clips, or do you mean these for clips? Or
no,
do you mean
little actually
these
like
for
the
clips?
little these clips. Yeah.
This is gonna be a lot of communication.
Yeah.
In terms of like.
It's par for the course when we do these gigantic builds.
Yeah. I do not see where the 2x1 with the grill. Yeah, the rail.
Yeah. Here, I'll give that back so they're together. Oh, I found them right here.
Perfect.
Yeah. That is. Yeah, I look at something like as Tis did years ago, I do a lot of 3D modeling and 3D printing stuff, and that.
You think always from scratch.
Right, and so in my mind, that like I look at something and I might have a hookup like, oh, I'm not sure how to model that, like what technique to use. But when I look at like building the tumbler from scratch, like from materials, it's just like, like that just like is a mind bender.
Well, and that's where a lot of having like a really good established crew comes so handy.
Yeah, that one.
We had, like New Deal had a really amazing group of people, and different people would come and go at different times, but they always had this resource of just really talented people that understood exactly how to get this stuff done. So like our metal worker guys, like our sort of like base engineer people, they were beyond talented. They knew how like, okay, well we can build it out of this, we'll use these certain techniques, and then they were the ones that always ended up working a lot more closely with like the pyro guys, because or just destruction in general. When you build a giant fortress that has to fall apart in a certain fashion, that means that the frame has to be made right, and then you have to make sure that there's enough all right, well, when this one goes, this whole arm's gonna fall, and then we mostly just try to work around what they've done, like their genius build.
That is crazy.
And make sure our stuff just doesn't hinder anything that they do.
Right.
Like on Inception, they built this amazing frame, and it was me, Adam Gelbart, and Alan Fauché were basically stuck in a room going, all right, this is what the frame's gonna be. How do we attach things to it that will break away they need them to, but we had to crane lift the model onto a mountain. So it's like, okay, it has to hold up, be outdoors for this amount of time, because it was just in our back lot.
Right.
And it has to survive the crane lift up. And then it has to break apart when the model breaks, but also not disintegrate. So we spent some R&D time just seeing what materials we could use. Honestly, that building was held together with hot glue and bamboo skewers. No joke. Bamboo skewers and hot glue. No.
Well, I didn't want to say
all
anything,
day long.
Yeah.
Sean, I need stuff like this, but only 4 wide. Is it going to be in here.
It should be in the same
Same one?
general vicinity.
See, I need some yellow blocks.
Oh, here they are. No, these have handles on them. Do you need the ones that don't have? Check that one.
No, I need them to have four full.
Okay.
I know.
I got 3s, so we're in there. Oh, 4s right
Four. I was running for
How
the
about some
entire time.
axles? Do you have axles down there?
Axle.
No, those are sticks. Those aren't axles.
You know what my favorite axle is?
No.
Axel Foley. Sorry. Beverly Hills Cop, anybody?
Oh yeah.
Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum, bum.
What else was there for
Oh, no.
for Dark Knight Rises? We're gonna go film by film.
Oh, totally.
Because
So,
like there's every film you've mentioned so far, and I know like you've worked on a lot more, is interesting. There's gonna be cool stories.
Yeah.
But Dark Knight Rises, so
Obviously.
the big fight scene between in the first half of the movie,
Yeah.
Bane and Batman, the Tumbler comes crashing down. I didn't realize the
Totally.
whole cavern was actually built out.
Yeah, if you look, like I said, they have that Cinefx article on our whole build. So you can see the behind the scenes photos. You can see what our set looked like. It was a multi-story thing too. We had to like take ladders to get up to another level and set the dressing out.
That's awesome.
Was there any other really memorable build from that show?
Well, the airplane.
Oh, yes.
So I think you said it is in like the opening sequence.
It
I
is,
believe.
yeah.
So Bane is on an airplane being transported as a prisoner, and then his crew comes and breaks him out by attaching cables to the plane with another plane,
Right.
and then blowing off the wings and part of the hull.
That would be that's what I would do.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, obviously. Why didn't they plan for that contingency?
I need these. What do you call these kind of trapezoidal, triangle, flat
Wings.
Wings.
Here,
Yes.
I'll give you a whole.
Thank you.
You're gonna need all those. Probably.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, we that one. I believe we did that one first. We did that a few months before we even started in on the Tumbler, and so that one took a lot of engineering. In that, again, we needed to see how big to make the plane itself,
Right.
and then how you can break it apart in a way that looks realistic. So we actually built a test plane first, and there are some photos of it, and the way you can always tell is that one was the white body.
Okay.
So when you look at
And-
a shot from the film, when you're watching the finished film, you can tell that's the miniature because of this distinctive quality to it.
Sure. And the fact that our it's funny, I spend so much time and put so much effort into all the things that I've worked on, and my screen time is maybe a second, 2 seconds in any given movie. So the best thing that happens is when they release a trailer for the movie you worked on and you're waiting for it. And since our stuff is pretty climactic, usually it's in the trailer.
it's in the
I remember
opening.
being
Yeah.
in Vegas, like in a hotel room, like barely opening my eyes, looking at my phone, and just started screaming. And my friend was like, what? And I'm like, my shot's in the trailer for Inception. Oh my God, you could see it explode. Like, it was really fun because also we don't really get to see any of that. They contract the effects companies out, so like, and we don't necessarily do the comping. I think sometimes they do. I don't know. Again,
So you're just providing plates of just
Yeah.
the miniature work getting
so
blown up.
you really
or,
don't know what it's gonna look like, but then
Yeah.
you see it, and then you instantly know, like, I know my finished models inside and out. You spend 3 months with something, and
Yeah.
you
So
Your baby.
is it that long?
Yeah.
Like 3 months to
Yeah.
build a tumbler?
yeah.
Whoa. For a shot that, like you said, a couple seconds on
Yeah,
screen.
maybe 1 second, maybe hopefully more than one, but you never know.
Wow.
But so usually I can tell, and then I get this enormous sense of pride. Like every time I've gone to a theater and you see it, and I'm just like gripping the arm of whoever's next to me, and I'm like, that was mine. That was mine. I did
Well,
that.
and I have to imagine that a lot of times it can be a little bit of a thankless job, like because I'm sure you don't always even get credit, right?
Actually, sad secret, internet public. I have no screen credits.
What?
They never.
So you're making all this up, is what you're saying?
I totally built the Tumbler, you guys. I was definitely there. Just take my word for it.
Well, you seem to be doing okay. It seems to make sense.
Yeah, no, because especially with the miniature effects, for the most part, it's interesting. In very small areas, it can be stingy with the credits. So even though you might get like 15 PA credits and
grips and
craft services, and please don't get me wrong, those people are all very essential and they deserve their credits. But then it's like, okay, new deal, you can have like 5 people that you credit. And so naturally it's gonna be the crew chief, it's gonna be the designer, it's gonna be the, whoever the main people are. And like on Dark Knight Rises, my friend Jonathan Faber did get a credit, and I was very, very happy for him because he earned that. But I did not. And so in the theater, I had just like this one single tear.
And you don't know until...
No, you don't know.
Wow.
Because the way that works is that they will, sometimes they allot, like you can credit this many people for this particular...
Exactly.
So
they only
an
have
allotment.
a few. So it's whoever makes it. And, I try not to be bitter. I was really excited when I got hired at Cinderbiter, which was a stop motion feature with Henry Selick. And in that sense, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm definitely getting a screen credit because everyone who works on this movie gets a screen credit. And so I was like, okay, this is my time. And then the studio got shut down and the film didn't get released. So one day it'll happen. We'll see.
Yeah, when you think of like the credit sequence and even before there were stingers and post-credit sequences, it's awesome to you should sit through the credit sequence.
100%. And I have to say, in one of them, it might have been Dark Knight Rises, when I was sitting there anxiously awaiting my name, there was this group of guys that had stayed behind, and I've seen people do this before, and it's fine, I guess, but they had the most fun making fun of every person's name that came up, and they would be like, well, thank God they had that one, and oh look, he was the best boy. That's a common joke, and you're like, okay, that is a title, whatever. But especially when I was all like emotional because I didn't see my name up there, and they were sitting there making fun of people, I was a little. I had some rage build up inside of me. I was like, these people worked really hard.
Rightfully so.
You don't know what it's like.
And sometimes entire companies don't get the
Definitely.
Yeah.
I know some people. I think it's okay to say this, but Mark Dubois, the art director at Tippett, he, I believe, is responsible for the design of the Beast from the new Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
And he got no credit. So
nope.
It could be worse. It could be much worse. It's hard in the industry sometimes. But
Ma'am, do you have little barrels and the other Technique beam that's next to that?
Sorry, let me take one more look at the... Yes, Technique piece, got it. I will find those for you right here.
Thank you.
We're gonna continue
This is why it
building.
takes us forever to build Lego.
oh, it's okay. Oh, I watched the Falcon build.
Between finding parts and then we start talking
on
about
tangents.
awesome
Can
things.
I ask you guys this as fellow nerds?
Yes.
Right. I'm assuming you guys both love Star Wars.
Yes.
That's okay.
Just a shot in the dark. I myself have just a small interest for Star Wars. But how do you pronounce the ship? The Millennium
Falcon?
Falcon.
Are you
Sometimes
saying
I have debates with people
Falcon?
because Han himself
Calls it the
calls it the
Falcon.
Falcon at times.
That is very, very true.
Falcon or Falcon?
Yeah, so I've had this. I
Interesting.
have a classic car, a 63 and a half Ford Falcon,
Oh,
and at times I have toyed with what to call it, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that I think I call everything a Falcon, long A, but
right.
I never know.
I didn't know that was a divisive thing
Well, it's.
in Star
I mean,
Wars fans.
I have
It
been.
is a thing,
I've
though,
been
that's for
curious
sure.
myself. That's the only reason I ask.
Let me think. Actually, let me think about that. I think I usually do Falcon. Yeah.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue quite nicely. Now, recently, I work with Phil Tippett, who obviously has a big history with Star Wars itself. And so I grew up always saying AT-AT. Yeah,
Yep.
AT-AT, AT-AT.
Yep.
But recently, he gets asked a lot because people argue whether to say AT-AT or AT-AT. And so when people try to ask him, he goes, well, you know, when we were building it, we called them walkers. Like, that's the walker, Imperial walker, just walkers.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to alter my vocabulary to call them walkers. Because I'm like, if it's good enough for Phil, it's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, that's interesting because I would generally personally stray away from that because I often call the Scout Walkers walkers.
And those are the ATSTs?
Oh, the chicken walkers.
Yeah, the chicken walkers.
No, see, I would never call that a walker. I would only call that a chicken walker.
Got it.
I'm sorry. Put my foot down.
It's still technically
It is a walker.
A walker.
A walker.
See, one of the reasons I call it AT-AT because I say ATST.
Right.
You can't. There's no ATST.
Yeah, that
Right.
sounds weird. It's true. It's true. If they have to be equal, then it would have to be AT-AT and
I don't let
ATST.
it bug me.
But
that delineation.
I lean
extra
towards
syllables.
walker and chicken walker. Like, if I say walker, I think it means Imperial walker. But if anybody wants to argue with me, I'm okay with that too.
No, I think that's good. I always just went with AT-AT and Scout Walker was what I
Scout
always.
Walker.
Okay.
That's actually what it's. I think like at least what the toy was named.
Oh.
Do you have a 1x2 brick, Sean? Black.
Isn't it so satisfying when your smaller
Everything's
pieces
black.
come together into a bigger piece
Oh.
like that?
Nice.
I love that.
I just jettisoned Lego all over the floor.
It all makes sense now. I mean, it won't make sense until it's all built, but you know. All right, I'm gonna need even more of these. Do you have more of the squares?
What? Where is this?
I think the whole bottom is made up of.
Yeah.
I think that's all of it.
Speaking of working at Tippett Studio and Star Wars, the day we're shooting this, we just released a video about the work you did on the new
how I made
figurines.
Kayte.
Yes.
Chess pieces.
Yeah, these chess pieces. We can go over that story again because it's super interesting. So, for Mad God,
Yep.
which is Phil Tippett's stop motion short film or series, his anthology series, one of his Kickstarter rewards, the last Kickstarter he ran, were these two pieces that you and Ken made.
Chung.
Yeah. Can you just talk over that process of
Sure.
making these?
So it was really cool. They found these lost chess pieces. They were actually lost because Phil had no memory of them existing. Nikita, who also works at Tippett, was looking at old photographs, and she saw a photo of the chess pieces and goes, you know, it's really funny. I don't recognize these two. What are these? And Phil goes, I don't know. And it turns
I'm
out.
just impressed that Nikita's memory for that stuff was that good.
Well, you know, you have to be very detail oriented, and they had already gone through recreating the hollow chess pieces
for F7.
Force Awakens, yeah. And so they were knee deep in that stuff. They knew it up and down at that point. And so she's like, well, these two don't belong. What's this? So it turns out Dennis Muren had them. Phil had gifted them to him because essentially he had designed 10. George Lucas picked the 8 that he wanted on screen, and then these two were just forgotten. So Dennis Muren had them at his house, and he brought them down to Tippett. They used photogrammetry, which is a really fun process that they've been using a lot lately. That is just mind-blowing to me. That if you take an object and you just have a camera go around from all angles, you can create a digital model of it that's photo wrapped,
which is crazy,
with the original texture.
Right.
So we had that. Mark Dubot cleaned up the models. I think he played with the posing a little to make them.
So you rigged them a little bit.
Yeah, because he knew we were going to be molding and casting these, so he was like, well, it has to be practical.
Make it friendly.
Right, so he made a very complex model that he sent to you, or two models, and Sean 3D printed them. and came out with these beautiful parts. I actually couldn't believe how clean they were when I got them. I've spent so much of my career cleaning up really poorly made 3D
Castings
printed
and,
pieces. Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's get to work. I'm gonna clean these first. There's nothing to do.
That's part of that we're using the Form 2, which does a really nice job. That wasn't even the highest resolution. That was like mid-resolution. But the other trick with the 3D printing is placing the supports that hold it on the platform is a bit of an art form. So like I tried to place I've done this enough with you guys.
Yeah.
I know where to put them that the points will be hidden.
Right.
So I think that worked out really well. What do you need, Norm?
I need 2 things. I need bricks with the front
Headlights.
piece,
Yeah.
and also
There you go.
and also the actual clear headlight piece.
You may have that. I think those are, nope, they're right here.
Now,
trade this
I could be mistaken, and I'm sure that the internet will fact check me on this, and I would have to relook at the photos. But I have this feeling that, so like we said, we're kind of mirroring things on both sides.
Yeah.
I don't think that the Tumbler is...
It's a little asymmetrical?
Yeah, I think it is asymmetrical. I don't believe it does mirror in
I love this.
real
I love
life.
that because you actually built the Tumbler for the film. You can critique the accuracy of the Lego.
Again, I could
set.
be wrong. It was just
Well-
just a memory I have that I think
That could
that's the
very well
case.
be because there's simplifications and streamlining that goes on just when you Lego.
Oh, of course.
So, even being the Ultimate Collector's Edition, that could definitely be true.
Yeah, this isn't accurate to the screen model.
I gotta say though, they did go through the effort. Like I think they got the tires pretty darn close. I think.
Oh, they don't weigh half as much.
Yeah, I think that they actually did special tires just for
Wow.
this model.
This is impressive.
I'm in the process of thinning down my Lego collection.
I saw those Twitter pictures,
Which has
man.
been horrific because I
That's insane.
have basically 4 Foot Lockers full of Lego and then about 20 bins.
Oh my god.
And there is this is how crazy Lego collecting gets. At one point I bought a Technic set that was a 4x4, like an off-road vehicle. And it has these gigantic monster truck tires on them, like this big. And apparently they're only in like 2 different sets, this set and another set. And I've come to find out that these tires will sell for upwards to $25 to $30 a piece.
And how many do you have?
What? Why?
Because
my
because they're
goodness.
about the biggest tires they ever made,
And they're
they're
rare.
only in 2 sets.
Wow.
I mean, they're
2
like
discontinued
they're
sets.
big.
Okay, if I were you, so let me ask you a few questions. 1, you're selling off some of your Legos, right?
Yes.
Lego. 1 Lego. Plural. Okay, sorry. You're
do
selling
that all the time.
Lego.
Yep. We need one.
Are you selling them
As
as sets? As complete sets
That's
or
a
as parts?
Very, very good question.
what's more valuable?
Generally sets.
Oh.
Now, so I have a lot of classic like space sets and stuff like that. So some of them I have already in sets, but then other things I know I have the pieces, but you got to put them in sets. So there is a site called Peeron, Peeron. You can go on, type in a set number, and it'll give you an inventory. So you use that, you pull the parts,
Whoa.
you put them together, and you sell the set. Now, that's a tricky business because if you're talking about classic sets, they change the grays at one point. So you have the old gray and you have the new blue gray, which are these. You do not want to mix those up.
Oh.
So you have to make
No.
sure you get the right color gray.
Okay.
You also sometimes they even change the brick style, like the underneath, like how they're
gosh.
designed, how they're built, and you have to make sure you get the right bricks in there.
I noticed in a previous episode with the guy who went to work at Lego.
Oh, is that
Yes, Carl.
Carl,
Yes, Carl Merriam,
and he
yes.
was showing the different pattern on the bottom
Yes.
of one of the big plate pieces and saying, yeah, they had to special design that.
Exactly.
Okay, so then
Do you have pins down there?
my follow-up
Technic
question would be, is it worth it? Like, because if you have,
No, like the little snap pins. You were using pins. Oh yeah, they're right in front of you. These aren't the pins I need. I need
Let's see what they.
I need the
lumber.
little half pins that have studs on them.
Oh, I feel like I saw some.
Oh, here they are.
Is it-
I'm sorry. So go ahead.
So, is it worth possibly? Actually, can I have the long ones at the end there?
These guys.
Actually,
beans
try the
are,
one next to them.
Studs.
Yeah.
There you go.
Since those are so rare, like, and you do still plan on keeping some things, like, would you maybe just keep some of those wheels, or is it worth trying to get all the money out of them?
How attached are you?
I'm not that attached. Unfortunately, I've gotten to the stage with all the projects that we work on, building ghost traps and other things that we've been doing. I don't have the time to just fun build Lego. Like,
Right.
In fact, I unfortunately disassembled it. I was looking for it for this day. I was working on a remote control Batmobile Tumbler at one point. And I had the rear end built and it had independent suspension, and because Lego put out an RC unit that had independent motors, and you could customize how big or small the car was.
Whoa.
And I even figured out how to make the wheels turn, which are weird because they turn from the outside instead of the inside.
Right.
So I had all of that worked out. I had I had a chassis that worked, but apparently I disassembled it at some point. So if I were still building actively, yes, I would probably try to hang on to some of that stuff.
Right.
But I just don't have the time to do it anymore.
Okay.
So
Hey, Sean.
yes.
I need this long
Oh, I got this.
piece,
How
which I
many do
think
you
is it's one of those.
So I guess now the question is to sell individually or in their sets with something that is that.
Now, in the case, hold on a second.
Can I also just note that this is
How many you need, Norm?
interesting.
That's good. Thank you.
It says here that this is a 10 piece, and so I was counting the holes and like, oh shoot, this one's 9 and that one's 11. But I realized no, the 10 is just the top
You got
ridges, but not the holes.
Yep.
So I learned something.
In the case of the truck, the 4x4, it was actually worth more to part it out, like the tires, than to go through the effort of pulling the whole set. Because there's some other weird parts in there. It had really big shock absorbers, which are also really valuable on their own.
Right.
And it had these very unique. They made these dampeners. They look kind of like shock absorbers, except they were meant for like lift arms, like pneumatic lift arms.
Ooh.
So they put them on the doors so that when the doors open, they're kind of like, you know. And those are kind of unique, and so it was worth parting out just the tires and the shock absorbers, which saved a lot of time on pulling all the separate pieces. So I made a call on that to just sell those. Yeah.
I would. Do they make a Back to the Future 4x4 set?
They
wait, you mean the Toyota?
4x4.
What do you mean, like the Toyota?
Yeah.
I'm sure they do. Somebody has done it a custom.
Did someone just re-release that actual car, or is it one that just looks
I
like
would
it? But I
totally
remember
buy
seeing
that.
something online, and it was pretty much
Really?
that. Yeah, check out that 4x4. That's my favorite thing.
Somebody had a really nice one at the RPF party.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
It was
It's not a
spot
car I
on.
see replicated very frequently because it's. You know,
Well,
everyone wants a time machine.
It's a fun car to replicate because it's more down. It's a totally down the earth car. Like you could just drive it around.
Right.
As your car.
I almost swore I have a Hello Kitty Back to the Future shirt.
Nice.
I almost swore that today. I built recently. I mean, it's not great, but it was the uranium case from Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those instances where the wrapping for the gift was better than the gift itself. I was just looking for a
Those are
container
always
to
great.
put these.
Yeah.
Like I got this Back to the Future Monopoly game and a Yahtzee game, which turned out. It was really weird. The whole reason I bought the Yahtzee game was because it had a working flux capacitor, like light up thing.
Interesting.
But when I got it, I looked at it and I realized that the flux capacitor itself, like the back door comes off and you can keep like the pencils and the scorecards, but that's also the cup. Like you put the dice in there and you close
hit
it and
and
you
you
shake the
really-
flux
The whole-
capacitor. It's actually not that great. I kind of am on the fence about it now, but
I feel that a Mr. Fusion would have made a much better
right?
dice shaker.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
Or like it just put a little cup in there
Or a
too. Like,
Mr. Fusion dice tower.
yeah.
Yeah.
And in the Monopoly set, the houses and hotels are supposed to be uranium cases
Okay.
and uranium rods.
Like the little clear ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the red in them. But they and it's on the literature for it, but it came with just houses and hotels, and I was kind of pissed about that. So I am in the process of making little
fulfilling
ones.
the promise of the packaging.
But so I ended up, I found
That's
an old
awesome.
anvil case in my basement, and so I made it over.
Painted yellow?
Painted yellow. I ordered special decals from, I think, Hungary or something. But it's not the right size anvil case. It needed to be like a little deeper, but they're like $100. And I had found this one at a Goodwill like years ago, and it was just sitting in my basement. So I used it, but I'm sorry, it's not to scale. It's not exactly correct.
I think, I can tell this is gonna be a fun week. We're just on day one, but I think it's a good place to wrap up and get a check-in, see what we've done.
Yeah.
Kate, you have a frame.
I do.
The Batmobile frame. Do we know what scale this Batmobile is?
I don't know.
It's got to be like 1/8, I think.
That sounds about right, because a good way to guess with scale is 1/12 is dollhouse scale. Is that correct?
Where figurines are 6 inches tall.
Yeah.
And
or like Barbie is like 1/6.
Barbie, I don't know if they're 12 inches.
Like
Barbie, I feel like is close to 1/8. This feels like Barbie scale.
Okay.
It's definitely not minifig scale.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Much bigger than that, but definitely not as big as the one you built for Dark Knight Rises. But we got some progress. I have a lot of like greebly parts here.
Yeah.
They're gonna get slapped on.
I got the start of doors, and I have seats, and I'm working on computer banks
Oh my gosh!
right now.
By the way, I made those parts in real life. Some of these, yeah.
We've never had anyone on who built the real world version of the thing that the Lego is trying to emulate. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And
I've never built a Lego of something that I've built in real life.
A confluence of great events. We're going to talk about more of the films that you work on later on this week. Learn about maybe how you got into model making and some tips. Where can people find you online?
I have recently joined Twitter and Instagram and started a portfolio website. So it's all just my name at Kayte Sabicer. Or KayteSabicer.com.
Awesome.
Kate with a Y.
Kate with a Y. Very important. So come back tomorrow. We'll be continuing this build. I'm a little worried about the pace.
I'll try and speed things up.
We're gonna figure out some efficiencies between today and the next episode.
We just could not pass up building the Tumbler.
No,
but there's also a lot of really good things to talk about. So we'll just see how far
we'll see how far we go.
I'll just live here and finish the build for you guys. I'm totally okay with that.
So we'll be back tomorrow. But see you then. Bye.